President Trump forced to respond to concerns that he tweeted to the world a classified satellite image. The image, a high-resolution picture of a failed rocket launch in Iran taken by what appears to have been an intelligence community satellite.
In August 2019, the President of the United States tweeted a photo of a damaged rocket launch site in Iran. Within hours, independent satellite trackers had identified exactly which classified satellite took it, how far away it was, and roughly how sharp its cameras really are. In this video, we will cover how satellites spy people. Make sure to subscribe and like the video for more. That single tweet gave the public more insight into American spy satellites than decades of speculation ever had. So what did they actually find? And how much can these things really see? To answer that, you have to start with what a spy satellite even is, physically. For most of the Cold War, that answer was surprisingly low-tech. The earliest American reconnaissance satellites, under a program called Corona, didn't send back digital images. They couldn't. Digital cameras didn't exist yet. Instead, they shot photos on film, then ejected the film in a capsule that a plane would physically catch out of the sky before it hit the ocean. That system ran through the 1960s. So how did we get from catching film capsules mid-air to a satellite sharp enough to identify from a single tweeted photo? Part of the answer came out in 2012 when the National Reconnaissance Office donated 2 unused space telescopes to NASA. Their mirrors were 2.4 meters wide, identical to the Hubble Space Telescopes. For years, people had suspected American spy satellites were built on the same core design as Hubble, just pointed down instead of up. This all but confirmed it. That matters because a telescope's sharpness depends heavily on 2 things: the size of its mirror and its distance from what it's looking at. A satellite using a Hubble-sized mirror, flying a few hundred kilometers up instead of pointed at deep space, can resolve genuinely fine detail on the ground. In the case of that 2019 photo, experts who studied it estimated the resolution at somewhere around 10 to 20 centimeters, enough to make out a vehicle or the shape of a person, but not fine text, which is worth pausing on because it directly contradicts the version most of us grew up with in movies. A satellite zooming in to read a license plate or recognize a face from orbit. That's not accurate. There's a hard physical limit called the diffraction limit, set by the wavelength of light itself, and on top of that, the atmosphere between the satellite and the ground constantly distorts the image, similar to why stars twinkle. Even the best systems believed to exist can't fully overcome that. So if these satellites can't zoom in that far, why are they still one of the most valuable tools in intelligence gathering? Because resolution isn't actually the biggest limitation. Speed is. Low-orbit satellites move fast enough to circle the entire planet in about 90 minutes, which means any single satellite only passes over a given location for a few minutes, a few times a day. The rest of the time, that spot is simply unwatched, by that satellite at least. That's part of why agencies also rely on radar-based satellites, which send out their own radio pulses instead of relying on sunlight. That lets them see at night and straight through cloud cover, something optical satellites simply can't do. And in recent years, the line between classified and public has blurred further than most people realize. Commercial companies now operate satellite fleets that photograph most of the planet daily. Before Russia's 2022 invasion of Ukraine, it wasn't classified intelligence that first showed the world the troop buildup. It was commercial satellite imagery, published openly and analyzed by journalists, which raises the real question. If commercial imagery is already this good, what's actually left that only a government satellite can do? Mostly, it comes down to control, the ability to redirect a satellite to a specific target within minutes, combine radar and optical data that isn't for sale, and coordinate a whole network of satellites handing off coverage to one another. That's the real story here. It was never one impossibly powerful eye in the sky. It's a rotating network of satellites, sharp enough to spot a truck, but still, even now, not sharp enough to read your license plate. See you on the next one.